Your website is the front door of your business, but the way teams build and optimize it is broken. Stuck between inflexible templates and cumbersome code-dependent solutions? Enter Webflow, a visual-first platform that empowers you to create freely. Now you can ship web pages in weeks instead of months and save millions in development costs. These are the real results for companies like Orange Theory, Dropbox, and IDEO. Get started today at webflow.com. Webflow, more than a website builder.
Hello. I'm Ad Age senior reporter Phoebe Bain, and welcome to another edition of the Marketer's Brief podcast, our weekly discussion about marketing news and trends that have the industry talking. On this episode, we're sitting down with David Carrel, Chief Marketing Officer for Thomson Reuters. In a difficult time for the news business, David is responsible for developing and implementing the marketing strategy to grow the Reuters business and strengthen the brand. But before joining Reuters in July 2022, David was also a marketing leader at Adobe, Amazon, Digitas, and more. So he brings a wealth of experience to the conversation about how branding can support multiple types of businesses. Specifically, today I'm talking with him about the Reuters rebrand and why now is the right time for it. Let's get into it. Hi, Dave.
Hi, how are you, Phoebe?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, thanks so much for coming on today. I know that we're here to talk a little bit about the rebrand. I would love to hear, so obviously you're the CMO, right? So what was sort of your part in the entire rebranding process?
Oh, good question. I joined Thomson Reuters about a year and a half ago. And pretty soon after joining, I started to think about, hey, Thomson Reuters has changed a lot. And two, we have a big ambition of where we want to go in the future to be the leading content-driven technology company. And while we had done a lot of change internally and our employees and key people here knew our ambition and where we're going, I realized our customers were not viewing us this way. And we had some big work to do. So starting soon thereafter, started to build consensus internally with our CEO, and we have a brand team here that had also been doing a bunch of great work and starting to think about, hey, we need a change. And one, in the past, Thomson Reuters had been kind of a holding company. And what that means to our listeners is, a collection of companies that kind of operate somewhat independently. And over the past 4 to 5 years, that has really changed to be an operating company where the businesses act together, we can do more cross-sell. And as we did this, the Thomson Reuters brand becomes even more important to be meaningful to our customers. So all these changes and all these trends, whether it be external, the company, what's happening, and then with the advent of generative AI and Thomson Reuters, we have a really strong roadmap, probably over 10 products we're launching across generative AI. We've actually been a leader in AI for 30 years. So just artificial intelligence, machine learning. And then when generative AI came out, we did a lot more work there. So a long way of saying, to answer your question, I started to think about this soon after joining. And as the forces came around, we said, hey, we really need to reposition our company. And it's much more than a new color or a new logo, although I love the new colors and the new logo. It's really letting our customers see us in a new way. And really, I'll tell you, the results have been fantastic. We just launched just a couple of weeks ago. March 12th was when we launched externally. And, lots of excitement, both internally and externally. But the thrust and the push was because the company has changed so much. And we really wanted our customers to know it and see us in this new way.
So for those who haven't seen the rebrand or aren't as familiar with it as you are, what are the biggest changes to the brand in terms of how it looks, that type of thing?
Yeah. Well, one, we have a new brand promise around clarifying the complex and really helping our customers who are legal, tax, risk, compliance professionals, people that use information. We're helping them clarify all the complexity that exists today. And the big customer insight that we really saw as we did some of the research over the past several months and before we had the brand launch was that customers look to professionals for guidance in complex situations. But even professionals risk being overwhelmed with so much change in today's world, whether regulations, new laws, compliance, the rise of new technologies. And where Thomson Reuters can really help is help clarifying that complexity for all of our professionals we serve, whether it be legal or tax and news. So that was really the genesis of the positioning. So that was a real big change for us, an update. Additionally, we updated our logo, which we haven't done since we launched this logo back in 2008. We've done also a new visual identity. We added a new racing green color. Thomson Reuters is really known for our orange. We updated our orange a little bit, but also added this racing green. We added a new font. We have a new brand platform of Know Today, Navigate Tomorrow. So we really went across, I call it 3 planks, really: our customer insight and how we help customers with our customer promise and brand promise, a visual change and identity with the logo, the colors, and then the messaging and the brand platform. So really across the board, it's been a pretty big change.
And you guys worked with Code and Theory, the agency, to do the rebrand, correct?
Yeah. We worked with Code and Theory, who's been a fantastic partner with us. They helped us along the way. We also have a strong and mighty brand team internally that partner really close with Code and Theory on research, ideation around the messaging. Obviously, Code and Theory was a big part of our visual identity. And then after we had their ideas, we validated this with over 400 customers as well too. And we serve a wide variety of customers: the largest Fortune 100 customers, small, independent tax and even law firms. We serve risk professionals globally. So we did a bunch of research, and across the board, the customer feedback has just been so overwhelmingly positive. People really like it, and I'll tell you, Thomson Reuters employees, we have about 26,000 employees globally. They're really pumped up about it. So lots of excitement around how the brand has really come to life. People are, really jumping in on it and feel really positive momentum.
So you've had essentially 2 things that really interested me when you were talking about what you wanted this rebrand to communicate. One was you were mentioning AI, and the other one was that you were positioning this as kind of a brand for professionals to help professionals comb through information that's complicated. Why were those sort of 2 of the ideas that floated to the top when you wanted to communicate what the Thomson Reuters brand was about?
Yeah. Well, as I talked about a little earlier, a lot of definitely consumers and even some of our customers, they know our products, but they didn't know the brand Thomson Reuters as well. And that has historically, like I said, been more of a holding company. It wasn't put first and center with customers. And so we wanted to make sure customers really knew what Thomson Reuters stood for. And our ambition is to be the world's #1 content-driven technology company that serves legal, tax, risk, news, compliance professionals. So we really wanted to make sure customers knew who we were. And while a lot of customers love our products, love our people, we have super high attributes on today on our brand, on trust, reliability, comprehensiveness. So customers really have a strong positive association of working with us. But we really wanted to articulate and tell customers who we are, what we do, what do we stand for, and how we can be their partner, their trusted partner into this new world of generative AI. So those 2 different trends came together really, really nicely in our brand launch because we were already starting to think, hey, we need to reposition the company. We need to tell customers who we are. We've been really strong on AI and generative AI. And in fact, we launched our first generative AI product globally, not globally, but customers last November. So ChatGPT came out end of 22, and a couple quarters later, we're launching our generative AI product. So we have a lot of good generative AI momentum and product capability. And so with this, and everyone's talking about AI now, but we really wanted to let customers know this is really part of our DNA. And it's a really strong part of our brand of where we want to go. So letting customers know who we are and then letting them know how AI can really help them because we serve professionals and they're looking at information. They have to do a lot of research. They have to create, whether it be Word documents, PowerPoint slides. So these are really 2 areas where generative AI can be really helpful: research and creation. And that brings together what we do. So it's just a nice fitting of, hey, our brand position with the rise of generative AI. And we wanted to make that a big part of our brand launch.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for people that aren't as familiar with, the brand at large, if you had to identify the key revenue drivers for your business, is it your tax solutions? Is it your legal solutions? Is it news? If you could just break down essentially
Yeah.
the most
Yeah.
significant components of Reuters for anyone who
That's
isn't as familiar with all of the different offerings.
that's a great question. And I'm sure many people aren't familiar. Three big areas: legal, tax, and then corporations, and then news, Reuters News. So I guess four. Our biggest would be legal. That's the biggest piece of our business.
And what
Um,
exactly are your legal offerings for
so
legal professionals?
Westlaw,
Oh,
practical
I didn't
law.
realize you guys. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So Westlaw, market leading product, if not household brand level name, known by many, many people, including yourself. Um, and that's one thing I talked about, or at least I mentioned earlier. A lot of customers and consumers know our products, but they didn't realize Thomson Reuters was part of that. And we hadn't, as a company, we hadn't really leaned into our brand as much. But you'll see that going forward more. We're leaning more into our brand, representing what our brand means. So you'll see that more and more.
So from a business perspective, the Westlaws and the legal and tax solutions, is the revenue that is generated from those, is that used to support the news business, or how do all of these sort of pieces fit together?
No, I would not say it's user support. Each business is a strong business independently. Reuters is a 170-year-old global, world-renowned, trusted brand that, when you go about and talk to people on the street, everybody seems to know Reuters in many ways. So the news, but it's not the largest part of our business. Like I said, legal is, but it's growing. Each area is a strong business on its own right. And how they come together is that we're serving people, professionals who need deep expertise. And whether that be in tax, in law, in risk, even in news, Reuters tends to go deeper and have different verticals and really, really strong beat reporters that we can provide news and information to our customers.
Absolutely. I think that it's interesting that you guys are opting for this sort of professional audience seeming rebrand, just because being a person that works in news and watching kind of the changes in our industry right now, it really seems like business news, trade news, those are some of the strongest business cases for news right now, offering a proposition of, hey, here's some news that will help you do your job. That's more lucrative, right, than lifestyle or beauty or fashion type news as well. And do you feel like, positioning the company that way as a brand that will help professionals do their job better, is that a strategic move as well? I mean, obviously it is what your content does, but is that part of what you want to communicate to your not only subscribers, but also advertisers?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we're focused on professionals and how we can help them with tools, with software, with information, and any way we can help them. So news is a key part of that. And the Reuters news is so trusted and well known and objective. It's a real strong brand for us in that space.
Absolutely. The other question that I wanted to ask about, the positioning of the new brand is this AI piece, right? So I was talking to a friend who works for a small consulting company, and she was saying that the two leaders of her company, they were going through a sort of rebrand or repositioning as well. And they were like, well, we really want to communicate to our clients that we are an AI driven company and that in every single thing that we do, we use generative AI. And it was interesting because my friend who was on the ground working there was like, well, that's not necessarily the case. I've never used AI in my job, at least consciously.
Right.
But it was, a more lucrative proposition, especially I'm a startup and direct to consumer brand reporter. Like everybody in the venture capital space right now is all about AI. That's the hot thing. That's where, investor dollars are going. So is that obviously part of why you guys decided to emphasize AI? And how are you like kind of going
I
beyond just the
Yeah,
brand communication there and saying, no, here's really how we use AI at our company. And
yeah.
we're not just saying that as a buzzword.
It's a really good question because as you touch on, AI is everywhere now. Even just looking at advertising, right? You go to any web page or podcast, everyone's an AI company. And you got to look at, well, okay, what's the differentiators here? What makes this AI better than someone else's AI? And this is what makes Thomson Reuters so powerful is we have unique proprietary content that we've been developing for 100 plus years across legal products. And that content and the AI is built on that content that only we have. So as you know, probably with the large language models, how they get trained, they got to be trained on unique content. And so it's a huge differentiator when you have world-class content, which we have both with our Thomson Reuters work as well as Reuters work as well too. So that's one, a huge differentiator. Two, another key area of differentiation, and I think everyone, yourself listening to this podcast can relate to, is you need to trust the AI. There's been many publications about what's called hallucinations, where the generative AI kind of makes things up, and we don't have that. We work to limit that and prevent that, and we also have lots of trust in our brand. I talked about this earlier: reliability, trustworthiness, comprehensiveness, and it's just a part, I would say, of the DNA of our people. And the other thing we really bring that's unique, that helps us improve our products and our generative AI capabilities, is industry expertise. Again, back to the content and knowledge. So we can really go deep in certain areas that can make our work and our software differentiated. So to your question around, hey, everyone's doing AI, it's a buzzword, it's venture capital, getting funded, totally agree. And really where we can differentiate is the strength of our generative AI, our trust, our content, our expertise. And then even back to, like I said earlier, we've been doing AI for 30 years. And one thing we like to call out, we've been doing search before Google even existed. Westlaw search, in the 1990s. So we've been having a lot of capabilities and just how do you search and search customer information and present it for years and years. So, all these really give us strong, I would call, differentiated as well as advantages from other companies or whatever might be going on in the AI space.
On that note, let's take a quick break for a message from our sponsor.
Your website is the front door of your business, but the way teams build and optimize it is broken. Stuck between inflexible templates and cumbersome code-dependent solutions? Enter Webflow, a visual-first platform that empowers you to create freely. Now you can ship web pages in weeks instead of months and save millions in development costs. These are the real results for companies like Orange Theory, Dropbox, and IDEO. Get started today at webflow.com. Webflow, more than a website builder.
Welcome back. So the other question that I wanted to ask you, Dave, you mentioned that the last time Thomson Reuters rebranded or had a big brand update like this was in 2008. And I can't help but recall that was, an economically fraught moment in the US at least, right? And so, the pandemic, even 2021, 2022, there's been this sense of, consumer unease and concern about the economy. So is there any tie there with why the two most recent times you guys have rebranded have been around moments of economic worry, concern, and strife?
No, I mean, in 2008, predates me, but that's when Thomson and Reuters came together and they created the brand. So it was kind of driven, I don't want to say by necessity, but by, hey, we need to come up with a new brand. And now, like I said, the time is right now for us because we see this as a moment of strength. We got some tailwinds at our back. The company has made a bunch of changes, again, like I said, over the past several years. And now we have a really strong slate of new products that are coming out and strong ambition across the company that we really want customers to understand who we are and where we're going. Because right now, customers across the board, they're looking for their trusted partner to help guide them through these times of change. And it's actually quite interesting. Like I talked about in our customer insight, how people look to professionals in times of complexity and for guidance. And in some regard, that's happening even now with this transition to generative AI. We have a lot of our customers, hey, saying, Thomson Reuters, help us think through this. What does it mean for us? So it's an interesting parallel moment right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as, the news part of your business goes and how that relates to the rebrand, there's been a lot of conversation about how younger people are distrustful of the media, right? Is there any effort in this rebrand to try and gain trust with perhaps younger readers, younger audiences?
There's some. I mean, the one thing I would say for Reuters, it's really a trusted, recognized brand, for objectivity, and it doesn't get pulled into some of the maybe points of lack of trust. I mean, obviously, in general, yes. So we don't see that as a major point for us. But in terms of younger consumers, I think you always want to make sure you're bringing in a new batch of customers, no matter what the age or what the product. And I think as we have our new brand and we focus on professionals, we're always looking to bring in more, hey, how can professionals gain from our news products?
Do you feel like Gen Z and even Gen Alpha are getting older now? Do you feel like they are going to identify as professionals in the workplace that could find a place within the new branding that you guys have?
That's a really good question. I really like that question. I think for sure, yes. I think as Gen Z or, people even in college come out of college and start new jobs, I think the new tools available to people today, generative AI, ChatGPT, just one of them, gives you the power to be a professional and to work differently. And one of the things we actually do here, and we have a whole team focused on thought leadership as part of the marketing team, is we've published a report the last several years called The Future of Professionals. And we've looked at across, key segments such as legal, tax, risk, corporations, areas where we're involved. And, one of the things that we see that people are focused on is our training, hiring and recruiting, and bringing in professionals into the workforce and getting them trained up in the right ways. So I definitely think, young people will come up and be seen and feel as professionals. And I know for sure a lot of the companies that we work with are also focused on that and investing in training, bringing in new people and making sure they know how to use new tools.
Absolutely. I just, the reason I asked that question is just because there's been a large anti-work movement amongst Gen Zers. I know that Gen Zers are known to be a generation who is interested in being
Hmm.
entrepreneurial. They, are distrustful of large organizations, that type of thing. They are funding and fueling the creator economy, right? So I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
did you guys take into consideration how the face of the younger professional may be changing in years to come?
We have tens of thousands of small businesses as our customers, entrepreneurs, solo practitioners, shops with less than, 10 people. So we have a lot of customers already in that base who consider themselves entrepreneurs, who are using our tools, and we think it's great. We're super supportive of them. And I think that, like you said, entrepreneurs, creators, they need tools more than anybody, right? They need to create, they need to publish, they need to be efficient. They want to make sure they're productive. And our tools are really focused on efficiency, improving productivity, enabling you to do things faster and easier. So
Mhm.
it's really set up really, really great for them.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, how do you think that the new brand communicates that
Oh,
audience in general?
I think it'll be great. I mean, a few of the things we really focused on with the brand was modern, technology driven, fresh. We tested it, like I mentioned earlier, over 400 customers, all customer sizes and levels. We went up from like people, individual contributors, line managers up to C-suite, and make sure we got content and research and insights across the board. And I tell you, it's been really, really positive. It's been a really strong refresh, and I think we tapped into some of the look and feel and the trends, and just made it a much more modern and updated looking brand.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this info with us. Where can people find you if they, want to learn more about either Reuters or, your career in general or this new brand refresh?
Well, I'm definitely interested to learn more about Thomson Reuters at thomsonreuters.com. I invite people to come there. You can find me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect and shout out to anybody there. And I would look forward to any other feedback from all your listeners. And Phoebe, thank you. It's been great speaking with you. Really, really enjoyed our time.
Thanks, Dave. That was Dave Carrel, Chief Marketing Officer for Thomson Reuters, and I'm Phoebe Bain, Senior Reporter at Ad Age. I'd like to thank our producer, Lauren Chiardio, and invite you to subscribe to the Marketer's Brief podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We promise to keep it brief, or at least short enough for your morning coffee. Thanks for tuning in.
Marketer's Brief listeners get $40 off an adage.com subscription. Sharpen your marketing edge and visit adage.com/brief for your discount.